powerful words. We have powerful minds. We use our voices and freedom takes flight. And we're ready to work. We're ready to win. We have a strategy and now we can begin. We are standing bolder, shoulder to shoulder. Playtime is over. Playtime is over. Now you are a champion. God is my witness. Imperfect perfection. Living my mission and winning. See, we are influencers. We have fear but don't stop. I have the confidence to rise to the top. We are standing bolder, shoulder to shoulder. Playtime is over. Playtime is over. All I need is inside of me. I am enough and now I see. Yeah, I will reach my destiny. Yeah, I don't need your permission. Yes, I'm on a mission. I'll win. Oh, oh, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now listen, I want y'all to repeat after me, okay? Because we're going to make some declarations in here today. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I'm building my legacy for the whole world to see. You say. I'm building my legacy for the whole world to see. Say. I'm building my legacy for the whole world to see me. Say. Say I'm building my legacy for the whole world to see. You say we are standing bolder, we're shoulder to shoulder. We are standing bolder, we're shoulder to shoulder. We are standing bolder, shoulder to shoulder. Playtime is over. Playtime is over. Hey, yeah, yeah. We have powerful words. We have powerful minds. We use our
Hey, everybody, welcome. It is Wednesday, and so you know what that means. I am here live at Impact the World Radio. My name is Cheryl Wood. I am your host here every Wednesday, bringing you phenomenal men and women who are touching the world with their gift. Like that special, juicy thing about them that nobody else can duplicate. They might try to imitate it, Vanessa, but they cannot duplicate it, right? And so the world will never be the same unless you share your story, share your truth, share your lessons learned, your unique experiences with someone else. And if you take that special thing about you and share it so that the world never is the same, like it's just so much beauty in that. But also it's a level of internal fulfillment that you get as a result of sharing what you do with the world. Like just that thing. I don't care if it's bacon sweet potato pies. Y'all know how I feel about it, right? If it's bacon sweet potato pies, bake the best daggone sweet potato pie you can ever bake and touch lives with that. And if it's speaking, if it's coaching, if it's writing, if it whatever that thing is, if it's helping people with financial literacy, whatever it is, the intention is not to keep it to yourself, but to share it boldly with the world and to know that you are good enough and that somebody wants what you know right now. And here's the best part, especially for all of my entrepreneurs who always tune in with us, somebody is willing to pay for it right now. So often we keep ourselves stuck and we don't share what we know and share our gift because we think that nobody's gonna want it. Like little old me, that's how, have you ever felt that way about yourself? Right. Like really, this little old me, who gonna listen to me? Right, who am I to? But the question is, who are you not to share your gift and offer it in the marketplace? So I have two phenomenal guests, as I do every week. And so I'm gonna introduce our first guest. Her name is Vanessa Fleeton. We got some history, because she's been in this journey a while and we've seen each other through the circuit. But let me tell you exactly who she is. She's founder, author, and speaker at VAF Inspires. She motivates others to pursue their purpose and pursue their dreams. She has published 2 books, Pushing Through the Pain, which you'll see here, Pushing Through the Pain to Pursue Your Purpose, and Preparing Today for the Life You Want Tomorrow, 8 Steps to Pursue Your Dreams. As a 2-time college grad, she found her love for speaking at Radio 1. At 46, she retired early from the federal government by stepping out on faith to pursue her purpose full-time. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
It's been a while. It's been a little while since I've seen you, but you just pulled up a picture on your phone, and I was like, whoa, like we definitely have history. That shows that we've been in this grind for a minute, right? And it's beautiful to see people who start and they stick with it.
Right.
So talk to us about how did you get started with this whole piece of, I think the thing I want to do is help other people pursue their purpose and their dreams. What was that was pulling on you that pushed you into that space?
Well, I've always been a person to encourage other people. But back then it may have looked like control. And I wasn't trying to control. I was just trying to help and inspire and just make their life better because I've gone through some things.
Right.
So if I can prevent you from going through something, or if I can help you get over the next hurdle, then it's in me. That's what I was here to do. And so it just came to me a few years ago. I was at a leadership retreat, and they said, what do you want a double portion of? That was their theme that year, a double portion. That. And I said, you know what, God, I want a double portion of my purpose and someone to complement that purpose. So we still waiting on the someone to complement. We got the purpose. Like, come on, Jesus. So
got to pray that prayer and be specific, right?
So I knew I wanted to inspire people, and so that's when I thought about, well, how can I do it? I can do it through T-shirts, I can do it through seminars, I can do it through books, and it's just started unraveling. It's like, I want to change the world. When I leave the earth, I want to know that I've done the best that I could and that somebody knows that Vanessa Fleeton was here.
Yeah, I think that's so powerful what you said. A couple things like inspiring people. So I want to ask you a twofold question. Number one, why do you think inspiration is so needed? And number two, I work with a lot of clients, and a lot of times they feel like their voice just can't be that powerful in the world. Like, no way, it's just little old me, as I mentioned earlier. And it holds them from moving forward and taking action, consistent action, because they just can't conceive of the idea that I could actually help to change the world. So talk about the importance of knowing that even if you're touching just a few lives, that you're still impacting the world. Because sometimes we're looking at this grandiose picture, but sometimes it just might be you impacting your community in your own backyard. So just talk a little bit about that.
Well, when you look at the news, which I try not to every day, you see that inspiration is much needed. When you give up hope, you have lost everything. So when I see young children committing suicide, when I see people giving up, when I see people trying to medicate themselves, in unhealthy ways, when I just see what people are going through, it's like we need help, and we won't go get the counseling that we need because we think we're okay. Or some men, they may think, I'm going to appear weak to the world. So when we go through that pain, we've got to find a way to handle it in a healthy way. Yeah. So when I see people around me, I grew up in a dysfunctional home, so I know firsthand that people need inspiration. And when you talk to people, you can see how their face lights up, and you can tell how they want to talk about themselves, and they're just so happy. I was at a high school, and I was at a career fair yesterday, and it just makes me feel so good when I pursue my purpose. Yeah. And so it's just much needed, and it's like, why you? Why not you? Each of us was put here for a particular reason, for a particular season. You don't know when your season will be up. So you definitely have to get started. And it's like when you look at other people's story, people who are famous, and I love to look at their autobiographies. I love to watch it on TV because you see where they started off. They didn't start off on big stages, traveling the world, celebrity status. They didn't start off that way. They started off just like you and me. Some of them were homeless. Some of them, a lot of them were unknown. And it's like, okay, I'm just a Southeast girl, trying to make a difference. But I know I can make a difference in this world. It may not reach the entire world, but it's going to reach somebody. Yeah. If it reaches 2 or 3, then I'm good, because then that means that the 2 or 3 can reach the next generation and the next generation.
Absolutely. So I think that's the key, is just that ripple effect, or maybe you refer to it as a domino effect. Right. And it's like, if you can touch someone, then they get the confidence and the courage and the boldness and whatever else they need to go out and touch someone with their gift. And so instantly you're creating legacy just by using your gift, sharing your story, however it is that you share your impact with the world. And it's so important that we don't minimize our reach, just because, we might feel like, I'm only able to reach this many people. Don't minimize it. Don't minimize the impact of it, because when you can touch one, that one can go and touch more and touch many. And so ultimately you are touching many because of just a few, even if it's just a few. So I love that. So talk about this whole idea of stepping out. We hear that a lot. But what does that really look like? Because I know what stepping out feels like, and we both know. We've been around for in the circuit for a while. But talk to us about what stepping out really could look like for someone else.
For someone else, that means if you're at a job that you hate going to every single day, you're in tears in the car on the way there, you're crying at lunchtime, you can't wait to leave. I mean, you just dread going in every single day. You may not can just up and walk out today, right, but know that you need to start getting a plan, getting your strategy together, getting your exit plan together. Because when my supervisor told me you don't have a choice, that right there,
that fired you up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I don't have a choice. I don't have a choice. My people have been through two. I don't have a choice. Okay, we're gonna show you. So you may not can leave today, but know that you need to start getting your strategy together, getting your exit strategy together, figuring out if I want a business, if I want to continue working for this company, if I want to work for someone else. But that faith piece that I talk about in my book, that is so strong. Even though I was in the government, and you can kind of depend on the government a little bit because it's somewhat stable. Now, I don't have a plan ABC. God is my A, B, C, D, A, Z. I don't know what's going to happen next. But when I stepped on faith, it was like, God, it's me and you. Give me my boxes. Give me my papers. It's time to go. And it's definitely a faith walk. God comes, just all types of directions to let me know I'm on the right track. So it's a faith walk.
And that means you're not going to know all the answers up front. And one of the things that I share with my clients often is it's about the belief enough in what you are purposed to do, that you are willing to say yes without the full blueprint.
Right.
Because sometimes as humans, we're just like, I got to know this and step A and step B and step, like you said, step A through Z first, and I know exactly how it's going to go. You could have a beautiful blueprint, and that blueprint just get crushed by life. Because life always happens, and it happens typically when we least expect it, and now your blueprint, your master blueprint, your master plan is crushed and completely opposite of what you expected. So there has to be a level of fluidity and flexibility when you are stepping out, right? And there has to be a level of discomfort that accompanies it. Because this is what I always say: if it don't scare you, it don't grow you.
Right.
If it don't scare you, it can't possibly grow you, because that means you're already doing what you already know. You're already doing what you're familiar with. So that doesn't stretch you. That doesn't grow you to new levels and new capacities in your life. And so it's okay to be afraid. Have you been afraid in your journey when you were stepping out, when you were writing the book? Because I know so many women who have a book in them and they still waiting.
Right. I was afraid because failure was never in my vocabulary. When you're a Dean's List student, when I'm not going to say I'm a perfectionist, I'm recovering to excellence. But when you want to be in control, it is so scary. And when you don't see the clients coming and you don't see the finances coming, direct deposit, I do get direct deposit, but it's like in coins now. Right. It's no longer in paper. And so after almost 27 years, 30 in the workforce, I took a huge cut. And it's like, okay, God, I just need to know you with me. I need to know you with me. And he just comes out of nowhere. It can be at the last minute, and something will happen. And I'm like, okay, you still with me. You're still with me. It's okay. But that fear, you can't have fear, because what's the worst that can happen? Okay, you may not make it this time. You keep going, you find another strategy, you sit back, you talk to people who can help you, and you just keep going. Giving up is not an option when you're in your purpose. It's
and I do believe fear, it shows up. Like, I know people say it's not going to show up. It's going to show up. You're going to be scared. You're going to be shaking in your boots. Like, as Lisa Nichols, my coach, says, knees knocking and teeth chattering. Like, you should expect that.
Right.
Like, anything that is unfamiliar that you've never done before. When I was becoming a mother for the first time, I was like, wait. I got to take the kid home with me now? Like, who's coming with me? Where's the blueprint? Where's the handbook? There's no handbook. When I was saying I do to marry my husband for a lifetime right before God, I was nervous, like, for life is a long time, right? So when you're starting a new job, when I was in the corporate space, and I would switch and I would go from this job to that job, somebody not watching me, right? somebody not watching because they calling me. So when I would get a new job, go to apply for a new job, there was always some fear there. You know, are they going to think I'm good enough? Right. Is my skill set going to position me to really win in this position? And so it's no different with your dreams. I don't know why, for some reason, all of a sudden, there are all these things that bring us fear when we're stretching for more in life. But when it comes to our dreams, then we expect it's just supposed to be just easy and comfortable and no fear. No, it's going to be some fear, and it's okay to feel the fear. I think the problem is most people don't allow themselves to settle into what fear feels like so that they know every time it shows up, oh, that's not my intuition telling me I shouldn't do this. That's fear. Right. That's fear trying to keep me right where I am, stuck, held hostage to this space versus the growth that I could be experiencing. So when you allow yourself to feel the fear, we hear that all the time, fear the fear and do it anyway. When we say feel the fear, like really get comfortable with what that feels like. Oh, okay. Oh. So you can recognize it and call it out every time it shows up. So you about to jump. You like, oh, shucks. I'm about to go for this. I'm about to do it. I'm going in. And fear's like, wait. Let me remind you why you're not good enough. Like every time I'm taking a stage, and I'm taking a stage in front of thousands of people, I'll never forget. I was keynoting for an organization called Blacks in Government, BIG, as they call it. And it was in front of 1,600 career professionals. And I was so nervous. And fear was literally like, Cheryl, you know you about to speak in front of a whole bunch of people that got PhDs, master's degrees. You don't have no degree. You don't have no letters behind your name. Like this is what fear is saying in my ear as I'm about to keynote in front of 1,600 people. Like, oh, Cheryl, you know you don't have this, and that. You know you grew up in the hood, and so how would you think that you're qualified to be the person speaking on stage at the keynote? Like that's what fear does. Every time I'm about to step out on the skinny branch, every time I'm about to do that thing that challenges me to be bigger and play bigger than where I am right now. And I only can do it because I've gotten familiar with what fear really feels like, and I call it out for what it is. Oh, no, okay, I got you. That's just fear. That's not my intuition. That's nothing valid or real about who I am and what I'm capable of. That is just fear trying to keep me stuck. And when I acknowledge that and call it out, man, every time it's a big win on the other side. Right. So I think for all of you who are watching, and we got to shout out the folks who are joining us on Facebook Live. Cherie Good, thank you for being here. Big Apple Beauty Supply. All right, come on now. We welcome you. Mignon Brown Anderson, thanks for being here. Margaret Harris, thanks for being here. Lisa Duncan, Sheila Malloy. Corey Wilson, Shanae, hey, how are you, sis? Karan, how are you? That's my Orlando sis. Well, she's really here in Maryland, but we were together in Orlando last week for Lisa Nichols' event. Denise, how are you? It's been a while. Lawrence Tucker, Emily, we thank you guys for being here. Please take time to share this out if you can. But yeah, so we got to feel the fear, do it anyway, and just step fully into it. So what do you want ultimately your legacy to say about you and what you've done in the world?
Well, I want the world to say she was here and she made a difference. She cared about other people. Her gift was inspiration. She used it to the best of her ability, and she left here empty. She gave it all she had.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so if they were to if our followers, our listeners, our viewing audience are to get their hand on your book, what are they going to expect? Is it going to give them something that they can implement now? Is it taking them into deeper thought? Is it your story? Tell us a little bit about both books.
Okay, the first book, Pushing Through the Pain to Pursue Your Purpose. She has a facelift, so she has a whole new cover.
I love it.
And so that is the Pain to Purpose story. So that is a testimonial book. I'm a testimonial writer. So that talks about turning the pain you've gone through, whether emotional, physical, mental, financial, whatever pain you've gone through, and turn it for your purpose, because all things work together for your good. So that's just a journey. It is practical. Everything I have is practical because it shows where I was and where I am now and how I overcame it. A good story isn't a good story unless it gives you practical tips. And it's like, well, how did you overcome it?
Absolutely.
Not just the problems, but what are the solutions?
Absolutely.
And so the second book is Preparing Today for the Life You Want Tomorrow. Those are different pictures of people pursuing their dreams, a few pictures of this is me in St. Thomas a month after I retired.
Awesome now.
I'm a college graduate. This is me editing the book when I'm at her salon.
Oh, forward by Dr. Willie Jolly. Shout out to Dr. Willie Jolly, one of my mentors. Come on now.
And so in the middle, those are my actual footprints from the sand from the beach a couple of years ago, before the book.
I love that.
So 8 means new beginnings. So both the titles, I'm sorry, they long, but they mean new beginnings. And they talk about turning your dreams into destiny. And I wrote that book after I retired early from the government.
So what has been your biggest lesson about leaping out, stepping out on faith, doing the things that are uncomfortable? Like, is there a biggest lesson that you've learned in the process of the journey?
I've learned, don't have fear of failure. You're going to be uncomfortable. You may not know, you're not going to know everything. You're not going to be in control. You have to have faith in yourself and whoever your spiritual advisor is. You have to keep going. You can't quit. Every day is not going to be peaches and cream. It's not going to be roses. You're going to have rainbows and you're going to have storms. So you have to keep going. You cannot give up even when you feel like giving up. Find some type of inspiration, whether it's a book, whether it's a seminar, it's people around you, to keep that inspiration alive in you. So even when you want to quit, you can't. You've got to keep going because somebody's life is dependent on your obedience. Absolutely,
on you showing up. And I say that to a lot of the women that I work with, whether they're going to come in and be a part of my conferences, my events, my retreats, whatever it is I always thank them for their yes, right? Because your yes oftentimes is what another woman needs to move into her next level.
Right.
So I believe in saying yes as well, giving my yes and sharing my gift all around the world, because I know that yes is going to help usher another woman into her next level. Right. So every time we say yes, there's just so much power in it, because it's not just for us. It's also for that person who's waiting for us, that sister who's waiting to go through her next door because you said yes. So I always get tickled when people are so excited when I say, yes, I'm going to speak at their conference, right? They'll send an invite, they'll go through my assistant, whatever. And when I get that yes, it's like, oh my God, and they're so excited. But the funny part that they don't see even on the other side is I'm the same way when I get the big yes from someone that I want to connect with. So there's just so much power in you saying yes, giving your yes, so that it impacts not only you and moves you forward, but also moves someone else forward. And you never know who's, especially for us speakers and authors and coaches, who is in the audience waiting for you and waiting for that message. It's about finding the people who are really hungry for it right now. And not everybody's going to be hungry for it. Some people are going to be interested in it, but not committed to it and hungry enough to actually take action. But your yes is the most powerful thing that you can absolutely give. So I want to give a shout out. Oh, okay. So I was shouting out Big Apple Beauty Supply, and the person says, Cheryl, thank you for encouraging us at Lift Conference to celebrate the sisters that have stepped out on the skinny branch. I recently mentioned you and your quote at an award luncheon where I was the recipient of the 2018 Businesswoman of the Year in Monroe County, Pennsylvania, Poconos. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for being with us. All right. So as we start to wrap up, do you have any events coming up? How can people reach out to you if they want to work with you, if they want more information because they know that they can't push themselves forward on their own? They need that extra push. You guys will hear me say it repeatedly. You can't be the picture and the frame. You need someone on the outside externally who's looking in, who can see things from a different perspective than you. And so I think that's what a big piece of what you do is being that push partner with them and that accountability partner. So how do they know that you're their answer, right? What is it that you're specifically going to help them to achieve? And then how do people get in touch with you? And is there any way that they can work with you?
Well, I would say when you're looking for an answer, you have to look at a person who has overcome what you're going through. It's hard for me to help you if I haven't been there. I can talk to you, can empathize with you, but if I have not been there where you are, been in your shoes, it's going to be hard for me to really pull you through. And I say, if I can do it, I can pull you through it. So my life is a testimony, again, a testimonial writer, my testimonial books, that if I have gone through it, you can get through it too. I'm no more special than you are. And so if I can, counsel you through it, it's because I understand where you are and I can pull you through that pain. I can pull you into your dreams. I can understand where you are and where you're trying to go. And I can sit there and I can genuinely want to help you. It's not just about selling products for me, because I would have been out of the business. It's more about
amen to that. It always got to be about something bigger than the products.
It's about inspiring people and helping people, even when I go to events and I may not get paid. It's like, you know what, if I see a smile on one person's face, yesterday a young gentleman gave me a hug. And it just felt so good. So that's what it's about. So again, practical tips. I've gone through it. I've been there. Not to say that I'm perfect or I am where I'm trying to get to, but I definitely can pull you through certain circumstances that I've been through. And I'm working on speaking engagements right now for 2018. I've done a few interviews closing out the year, but I'm definitely looking forward to speaking next year. So you can find me at Vanessa Fleeton on social media. My website is vanessafleeton.com, and you can purchase either or both books at my website or Amazon.com.
Fantastic. So I want to encourage you and celebrate you. Keep up the good work. Keep inspiring, because the world does need it. And you just never know that one person is just waiting for that word that you're going to give to them. Words hold so much power. And sometimes someone just needs to hear it from someone else. I just came back from Orlando, Florida. A whole week I was with Lisa Nichols. And I wasn't there for, honestly, I wasn't there for speaker training. I wasn't there for her critiquing my speech. It wasn't like, I already got that, right? I was there for her to be the person who gave me the swift kick in the butt that I needed to move to my next level. It was just needing the word. It was like needing that person to be like, Cheryl, stop playing. Like, you are so much bigger than you're playing. Like, I knew I needed that. Like, that's what I was going for. And I just thank God that he made sure I got exactly what I needed. Because I could tell myself that all day long. But having someone who is 20 steps ahead of you, reminding you, giving you that powerful word, giving you the swift kick in the butt, like, come on, what's the deal? Stop playing small. Get out to the world. Show them your brilliance, right? Without apologies. And so now you get to do that also for others. I get to do that for others. Our next guest is going to be coming up, Professor Darius Wise. He does that. We got a bunch of speakers in the building, speakers and authors and coaches in the building. And so there's so much power in words if you really allow them to penetrate your soul and to hit where it needs to hit so that you can get the message and then execute. Like, it's not enough just to have some words and have some knowledge. It's executing it. That's where the power is. So you're clearly executing it. You're transforming lives. Keep up the great work. Tell them one more time. Thank you, Bridget. Appreciate you. Bridget said, love your spirit, Cheryl. Thank you, sister. Please tell them where they can get the books and how they can connect with you directly, especially on social media.
You can get the books at vanessafleeton.com or amazon.com. If you get it through my website, I can autograph it for you and I can mail it out for you. The website is vanessafleeton.com. Social media at Vanessa Fleeton. So definitely reach out to me and I'll be happy to do whatever I can. And one of the secrets in the first book, I started not to reveal it. And God was like, no, that's the piece.
Ooh, she
so
just made
secrets,
it real juicy now,
y'all.
Those
secrets, you gotta let them go. You gotta let them
she
go.
Just made it juicy now. I know y'all gonna run in and buy the book. And like, I want to know what the secret is. I just want to know what the secret is. Thank you for being with us, Vanessa. We're gonna take a quick break and we're gonna be back with our next guest. The professor is in the building. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We have powerful words, we have powerful minds. We use our voices and freedom takes flight. And we're ready to work, we're ready to win. We have a strategy and now we can begin. We are standing bolder, shoulder to shoulder. Playtime is over. Playtime is over. Now you are a champion. God is my witness. Imperfect perfection. Living my mission and winning. See, we are influencers. We have fear but don't stop. I have the confidence to rise to the top. We are standing bolder, shoulder to shoulder. Playtime is over. Playtime is over. All I need is inside of me. I am enough and now I see. Yeah, I will reach my destiny. Yeah, I don't need your permission. Yes, I'm on a mission. I'll win. Oh, oh, oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Now listen, I want y'all to repeat after me, okay? Because we're going to make some declarations in here today. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. I'm building my legacy for the whole world to see. You say, I'm building my legacy for the whole world to see. Say, I'm building my legacy for the whole world to see me. Say I'm building my legacy for the whole world to see. You say.
And you guys will get this on. All right, so we are back again. I know you guys are just still, letting that conversation I had with Miss Vanessa Fleeton sink in. That was really, really powerful stuff. And just a reminder to all of us that your gift is necessary, and who you are and how you show up in the world is important. And you need to show up in power. Powerful that what you've been through, what you've learned, your life experiences means something to someone else. So do not diminish what you've learned. Before I introduce this amazing professor, I gotta stop saying that, right? But
keep saying it. That's all right.
I like it. This amazing professor next to me. First, let me give a huge shout out to Tammy Turner. You guys always hear that song that I'm singing about building our legacy and standing shoulder to shoulder. That was written, produced, performed by Tammy Turner, who's a songstress right here in the DMV region, DC, Maryland, Virginia region. She has performed everywhere. She was on Sunday's Best. She's performed, I think it's like at the Kennedy Center. I mean, she's amazing. But we thank her so much for lending her talents to us for that amazing song that we've adopted here as our anthem. And then I have to give a huge shout out as well to our promotional partner, Miss Ladrine Peterson, who is the founder of Do It. She helps to turn dreamers into doers. This seems like that's like a theme for the day. She has a nonprofit component of her organization called I Am the Legacy Campaign, which is a campaign that she is launching because she believes that we shouldn't just leave a legacy for our children, but we should also encourage them to create their own legacies now. And so she's doing that through a 3-part system. She's having a youth business pitch contest, a youth anthology book project, and a youth conference and symposium. And so she's doing these fundraisers all over the DMV that help to raise funds for these components to support I Am the Legacy. So far, they've raised well over $1,000. And right now, in the month of November, they are doing fitness fundraisers. So if you want to learn more information about that, you just want to go to iamthelegacy.org and get more information. And you can follow Ladrine Howard Peterson on Facebook. And if you're on Instagram, go over to Do It Delivers. Thank you so much. We couldn't do the show without you. And last but not least, I gotta just show y'all this. You know that last month we launched the Impact the World magazine. This was our inaugural issue with Miko Branch, who's the CEO of Miss Jessie's Hair Products. It's a multi-million-dollar hair product company. And she was with us at the University of Maryland for the AWN, a Woman's Narrative event that I hosted last month. And this month, woohoo, fire. If you don't know who Gloria Mayfield Banks is, you better Google her. That's all I'm saying. You better get on Google. She is an international success strategist. She is most known for being the #1 national executive director for Mary Kay. And she has broken all records in Mary Kay. They travel her all over the world. She just got back from Italy, and then she was somewhere else. I mean, she's never just sitting. And so we are so honored and thrilled to spotlight her as our cover girl for November. The November issue, the theme is a spirit of gratitude. And so we have some phenomenal stories in this issue about women who are just moving in gratitude despite the things that are taking place in their lives. One of our stories is Bonita Parker, who is a local business owner here in the DMV, who is overcoming cancer. She's in the fight for her life, literally, but talks about in the article how she maintains a spirit of gratitude in the midst of that diagnosis, as well as another beautiful sister, Kathy McCoy, who had a devastating and tragic loss of her only child. He was 19 years old. That was just 5 years ago, and she talks about how she demonstrates gratitude even in the midst of losing her only child. So you want to go and get a copy. This is a print copy, but also we have it digitally at impacttheworldmagazine.com. impacttheworldmagazine.com. I want to welcome my good friend, my client, my sister, Karonda Fleming in the building. Thank you so much. Please share this out with your tribe. And now, drum roll, please. Mr. Darius, the Professor Wise. He has focused his life on helping people dust off their dreams and live in abundance, a life of abundance. As a young adult, he realized his passion for speaking and was introduced to the teachings of many dynamic orators. Through his insight, he is able to shine a light in the darkness where most people have buried their dreams. Darius infuses success principles. Look at him. He's so smart. Neuroscience, humor, and real-life situations into his dynamic presentations and his new book.
Thank you.
What are you thinking? Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me.
I just got to see you a few days ago, but it's great
I know.
to see you
It's
again.
good to see you again.
Good to see you again. Talk to me about this whole concept of infusing success principles, neuroscience, humor. You think you're funny?
A little bit.
A little bit. Me too. I think I'm funny too. How did you get started on this path? Like, what made you really focus in on people's thoughts and what they're thinking and how that dictates or determines where they end up?
It's kind of came to me in pieces.
Mm-hmm.
When I graduated from college, I started a business. I actually was in network marketing, got to a network marketing company. And that introduced me to public speakers. And that introduced me to motivational speakers, the Jim Rohns, the Zig Ziglars, the Dale Carnegies, all of those. And I just fell in love with them. Mm-hmm. And there was always a training at some point called a mindset training.
Yes, so
true.
Right? So true.
So it was always this mindset training. And one of the things that I realized, Cheryl, is that they kept talking about the mindset training, but really didn't talk about how our mind actually works, how our brain actually works.
Yeah.
And through my journey of just studying great orators and great speakers, I just became fascinated with, like, I want to know, like, how does the brain work through all of this? And that led me into meeting a young lady named that started a company called Optimind Neuroscience Institute. Shantae Javon Taylor. She actually wrote the foreword in my book.
Awesome.
But I was introduced to her, and she was actually teaching a neuroscience course for speakers and influencers.
I gotta write her name down and Google her later.
And it was a great course. And my cousin Denise actually shared a video of hers with me because I really wanted to know, like, how does our brain work through all of this? And that's what got me into that whole neuroscience part of it. Through her course, I became a certified neuro coach, not a neuroscientist, but a neuro coach. And the other part of it was the success principles. I always wanted to be successful, and I followed these people that had success, and I was studying these success principles, but again, that how our mind works, that mind piece of it wasn't clicking for me with the principles that they were given. So I would read books and I would listen to these audios, and then I'd be like, well, what do I do now? How do I get through the stuff that I have gone through to take that next step?
Right,
so
absolutely.
That's what's kind of started the journey for me.
Yeah, and so that's very powerful that you say that, because it's kind of like, what's the next step, or for some people it's what's the beginning step?
What's the first step?
Right. What's the first thing I do especially if I have been in a routine of having a negative thought pattern, right?
Exactly.
So if I'm used to telling myself, this would never happen for me, how could this possibly happen for me? Talk about the way that we talk to ourselves and how that impacts the thought processes, the behaviors, the patterns that, again, ultimately dictate where we're going to be.
Well, the first thing we have to understand is the most important conversation you're ever going to have is with yourself.
I love that. The most important conversation you're ever going to have is with yourself.
Is with yourself. And I have a chapter in the book called I Hear Voices. And those voices are the voices in our own head of us having those conversations. And I relay it back to when I was younger, and you probably can, I know a lot of your listeners in the audience can kind of, resonate with this, is that when I was little, I remember watching cartoons, and that character had a decision to make.
Right.
And when that character had that decision to make, an angel popped up on one shoulder and the devil popped up on the other shoulder, right?
Exactly.
These are the voices that we hear in our head. So when we're saying those things, like, I can't do this, or maybe this is not for me, what we're actually doing is giving credence and giving power to that negative voice, and we're actually giving more attention and focusing on that, as opposed to the voice that's saying, Cheryl, you can do it.
Yes.
Cheryl, you have what it takes.
Yeah.
We listen to that negative voice. So it's not that the voices are not there. They're there. It's which one do you feed?
That's so cool. Oh, that's just so good. Okay, wait. I read that. It's the way you said it. It's which one do you feed?
Which one
it's like,
do you
which
feed?
one do you feed, guys? Like, and that's what I say about people when they're in a situation that's a challenging situation. It's a struggle, right? And we all get knocked down with struggles. I don't care where you are, how successful you are. At some point, life's going to throw something, you'll be like, whoa, I didn't expect that. I didn't see that.
Right.
Most people spend more time thinking about the struggle than the solution to the struggle, and you wonder why you're still stuck there.
Right.
Because all of your thoughts are, oh my God, I'm so miserable. I can't believe this is happening to me. Woe is me, blah, 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 blah. Instead of, you know what? I'm smart enough to create a solution for this problem. Let me look at what my options are. Right?
Yes.
Who can I connect with? Who's in my community that can help me provide a solution to this, an answer that we don't automatically focus and think about what the solutions are and the path to it. We stay in the space stuck on the thought process about the problem. And the problem ain't going away until you create a solution to it.
Well, our paradigm is programmed that way. So our paradigm is basically the programming in our brain. And this was amazing to me when I found this out, and I learned this, is that your paradigm, what you believe, what you think, how you think, is already in place by the time you're 5 to 7 years old.
Yep.
Right? So we have grown people, adults, that are living their life based on these things that they learned when they were 5.
Yes. Yes.
And part of the issue is when they were 5, they weren't taught to look at the bright side of it. They weren't taught by what they read, what they watch on TV, now with social media, the posts that they're looking at, and just the people around them that love them that are helping raise them, right? So they weren't taught that. So what our brain wants to do is go back to what we know. And it's our brain is very lazy. That's why we create habits, because our unconscious mind is usually controlling 95% of what we do. So when we have an experience, I explain it this way, and I talk about it in the book, and then some of the other things that I do, I explain it this way. When you're born, it's like a whiteboard in your brain. Every experience you have is written out on that whiteboard. And how you respond or how you react to that experience is also written with that experience. So now you go through life, you have another experience, it's similar to something you already have. What your brain actually does is it says, let's go back to the whiteboard, let's see what happened when we had an experience like this before.
Absolutely.
However you reacted before, let's just do the same thing.
Right.
So we never consciously think about what it is that we're saying to ourselves and what it is that happens as a result of those things that we tell ourselves.
Yes. Powerful. Y'all getting all of that? I know y'all just like, ooh, y'all didn't know y'all were coming to class today, right?
The professor's here.
Come on, come on now. The professor's in the building. I told y'all the professor's in the building. So here's the thing. So you said something pivotal about the brain. So the brain is a muscle.
It is.
If we don't work out our muscles, what happens? It goes into atrophy.
Yes.
Which means now you're not getting the most use out of that muscle because you're not working it out. So like myself, at the beginning of the year, I'm at the gym every day.
Like everybody else.
Everybody else. January, February, March, and April. I was in the gym every day.
Well, you made it to April. That was good.
April. I was doing good. Then I went to South Africa and just jacked everything up. Ain't been right since, but I'm going to get back on track. But I could tell the difference. I was working muscles that I hadn't worked in a long time.
Right.
And I was able to do things with my body that I haven't been able to do. I mean, it was amazing. Your brain is the same.
Yes.
It's a muscle you can work out. It's a muscle you can retrain.
Yes.
Right? It's a muscle where you can, which goes to my next point of what you were saying, that you can literally create a break in the patterns of your thinking that you did have from a 5-year-old. So what are some of the things that we can do, like anybody who's watching right now, like what's some immediate things that they can do to interrupt the pattern that they've created of toxic thinking, negative thinking, or just whatever what was instilled in them when they were a child about that impacted beliefs that they have now as an adult?
Well, let me share it this way. First, let's understand how the mind works. Once you understand how the mind works, everything else kind of falls into place. This is now forget about the medical jargon and all the scientific words and everything. I learned from a gentleman by the name of George Zaleki over 20 years ago this concept, and it changed my life.
Y'all ready? It's about to change your life. About to be changed.
This is powerful. And what he shared was, he said the mind has 2 parts. There's the thinker, and then there's the prover. The thinker thinks, and the prover proves whatever the thinker thinks. So when you have a thought that I can't do something, the prover says, okay, now I have to prove that you can't do it. How does that look? This is how it plays out. You say that you can't write the book, because that was my story. I had the book idea 20 years ago. like the title and everything.
Right.
I had that 20 years ago, but in my mind, I was telling myself that I couldn't write the book. I'm not somebody who could be an author. And so I didn't write the book.
Right.
And what my mind actually did, the prover part of my mind, which is the unconscious part of your mind, it actually blinded me from all of the opportunities I had to actually start writing the book.
Absolutely.
From seeing the people that were in my circle, in my space, that could actually help me write the book. So when you have a thought and you say, I can't do something, or you say, I can do something, the prover is going to go to work. So it doesn't matter if it's a positive thought, a negative thought. The prover is going to prove whatever you think. You cannot be wrong to yourself. So you have that thought. The prover says, I am going to prove this because that's my job. Right. And it's going to put you in a situation where you're surrounded by people that are going to prove it. It's going to put you around in situations that's going to prove it. And it will hide. This is the thing most people miss, is that there are things that are in your space, but you won't be able to see them because your brain is focused on proving to you what you said. So if it's that you can't do something, it's going to hide the things that will show you and prove to you that you can.
Very powerful. The professor is in the building. If you didn't know, the thinker and the prover. And whatever it is that you're thinking and claiming and speaking and all of that stuff, right? The prover is going to prove to you that it's true. So that's why I love that. It's like whatever you think about and focus on is going to be the thing that expands.
Yes.
And if that is, preceded by I can't, it won't happen, it could never, that prover. I like the way you broke that down. That prover's job is to prove you right, to prove what you've been thinking and saying right.
Yep.
So then two or three steps that we can take immediately to start interrupting that pattern.
First thing I'll share with you is that you have to become conscious. So you have to pay attention to what you're saying and what's being said to you. So first thing is pay attention.
Good. What's being said to you too.
Right.
Yeah.
Because your brain can't tell the difference. So if you said something to me, my brain takes it as, okay, maybe that's what you said. So my brain can't tell that you said something or if I said it to myself. Now, we consciously say, I hear your voice, but your brain is actually saying, oh, I heard that. I'm going to take that in. So first, pay attention. That's the first thing we need to do. We need to pay attention to what's going on inside of our head and around us in our space. The second thing that I would encourage people to do is now you need to create a disclaimer. You need a disclaimer on all the things that you take in. In the book, I have a chapter called That's Not Mine. That's my disclaimer. So if you said something to me, Cheryl, that didn't resonate with me or does not take me in a direction towards my goal, I'm going to say to myself, that's not mine. That's my disclaimer to myself, to my brain, to say, don't act on that.
Yeah, I love that.
So that's not mine.
That's not mine.
So you need to have some type of disclaimer that you can say to yourself. Now, I'm not saying walk around all day, Cheryl, just telling people.
That's not mine.
That's not mine.
No, that ain't mine.
Don't. To yourself. Just say, that's not mine. Or whatever you say is your disclaimer.
Yeah.
And then focus on the things that you want, not the things you don't want. And this seems very simple and seems very basic and elementary in the whole scheme of things. But what you normally hear people saying, and you as a speaker, and you go around, you travel around the world and you speak, you probably hear people say all the time, like, what do you want out of life? Oh, well, I don't want this, and I don't want that, and I don't want this. So they tell you all the things that they don't want, thinking that's how they get what they want. But if you focus there, if wherever your focus goes, your energy flows. So if my first response is to what I don't want, my energy's flowing to that.
Right.
And so that's going to take me in the direction of really giving all my time and attention to all the things that I don't want, as opposed to saying what I do want.
Y'all getting all these juicy nuggets. Come on now. I mean, like, y'all to know in 20, 25 minutes that your whole mindset was going to start being shifted, right? But you have got to get your hands on this book. What are you thinking? I'm looking at the back now, and I'm like, I just got my copy, a couple days ago. We were in a boot camp together.
Yep.
And Paul C. Brunson, I see Stan Richards on here, and some other amazing folks. Here's a copy of the book, you guys. Who is not listening to me? Who is not watching the show and keep calling me? What Are You Thinking by Darius Wise, the professor.
Mm-hmm.
You want to get your hands on this. How do they get their hands on the book?
To get the book, it is on Amazon.com.
Awesome.
And you can also go to my website, which is IamDariusWise.com. I am DariusWise.com. And so either way, the paperback is on Amazon, but also on Amazon is the ebook for your Kindle. I just finished the audio, so that's going to be on Audible. Woo-hoo. And
that's
all
the
other.
Me. I'm like, I ain't got time to sit down and read.
Me
book.
too. I like to listen, but that's because I learned from listening to cassette tapes.
Right.
I'm aging myself, but
I know we both are. I don't know what you're talking about. Professor. I don't know what you're talking about.
But that's how I started, so I love the audio too.
Yeah.
So the audio will be out within the next week or so.
Awesome.
By Thanksgiving, the audio will be out on all outlets where you can get music and audio books and all those things. But yeah, IamDariusWise.com and Amazon.com. You can actually go get the book.
What do you want your legacy to be, Darius?
That is a great question. I was just talking to my grandmother. I actually have a radio show that I do as well on Monday nights called Wise Words with Darius. And I had my grandmother on the show. My grandmother is 91 years.
What a blessing.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
She is phenomenal.
Right.
She is phenomenal. But, you know, we were talking briefly about this whole thing about generational curses and how we so focus, especially in the African American community, we focus on this generational curse kind of thing, and we think that that's what's supposed to be. My goal is to create a generational blessing. I want to pass down through my kids and their kids and my family just the idea that they can do the thing that they were put here to do.
Absolutely.
Just encourage them to do that. And it starts with me. I understand just with my children. My wife and I have 4 kids. So I know with my kids, my goal is to show them by my example that you can make it happen.
Yes.
Like, I've been through a whole lot in this lifetime, right? But through all of that, you can go through and you can still think yourself into your ideal situation. You have that ability. So what I want to leave is I want to first challenge your thoughts. I want people to challenge their thinking, challenge those beliefs that you were given at 5 years old.
Right.
Challenge those thoughts. So I want people to challenge their thoughts, challenge their beliefs, and understand that you are responsible for your life. No one else. It's no one outside. It's you.
No one else. Nobody else's responsibility. It's
your
nobody
responsibility.
else's job. It is you, and you got to be willing to do the work. Because, this whole idea of shifting your thinking, it's work. It's work, right?
Oh, yes.
You're not just going to blink your eye, be like, okay, yeah, they magically think positively every day.
No.
And even when you're on a path to shifting your thought processes and your beliefs, sometimes there's going to be something that happens, like you said, it's going to take you back to that 5-year-old belief.
Can I share something with you?
Please do.
Okay.
That's what you're here for, Professor. That's what you're here for.
I have to leave you with this equation. Now, I got this equation from Jack Canfield. Okay. So I went through a certification program with him to be a certified trainer of the success principles, and he shared this equation. So there's 2 things that I really use to really run my life. That's the thinker and the prover, and this equation, which is E plus R equals O. Okay. So the E is the event. The R is your response to that event. That equals the O, which is the outcome.
Come on, y'all.
So E plus R equals O. So the event plus your response equals the outcome. So there's an event that happens. It can be you lost a loved one. It can be that you're in a car accident. It can be that you got a promotion. It can be that you got fired from your job. Whatever that event is, you have to take time and pause and think about how you're going to respond. Not react. Right.
Did I read the book? Darius?
Yeah. Not react, because reacting doesn't take thinking.
Right.
That's an autopilot.
Come on.
That's an
Reacting
autopilot
doesn't
function.
take thinking.
It doesn't.
You got to come back. You back.
Whenever you want.
All right.
So you got to pause and you got to think about your response so that you can get the outcome that you want in that situation.
Yes.
I was just released from my job. A good way they call firing. They abolished my position. So they basically fired me after 14 years this summer. My response was, thank you so much. I thought I was going to stay here till I was 60. But But it's because of the response. So my outcome is I wanted to be in a situation where I could do the thing that I was passionate about.
Yes.
You know, and like Vanessa said earlier, you know, you got to start putting things in motion now before that thing actually happens. And that's what I was doing. So whatever the event is, you got to understand that it's not the event that's most important. It's your response and not a reaction to that event to get the outcome that you want.
Man, you've dropped some golden nuggets that we're gonna be chewing on. You know, I'm gonna be chewing when I'm down the road, still digesting.
I'm just gonna sit that right here.
Just sit that there. You guys, you have to make sure that you get the book. I mean, really, you said something pivotal about thinking your way into your ideal situation.
Yes.
And that's with everything. And it is. I love that your response about the job is like, it's not, oh my God, woe is me.
Right.
What am I gonna do now?
Right.
I ain't gonna never. Like that stuff, you got to eliminate all of that. And the beautiful thing is that you absolutely can shift it. So I remember when I first walked away from corporate America, I was scared. I was scared,
right?
Because I had relied on direct deposit for my entire adult life.
And that's what we were taught, right?
And now I was doing something different. But what I started doing was every morning I would wake up and I would shift. You said something powerful, that the most important conversation that you will have is with yourself. And every morning I would wake up and I would just utter these words. I would say, Cheryl, you are a magnet for success. You are a magnet for wealth. You are a magnet for abundance and prosperity. Someone in the world is waiting on you to show up in your greatness so that they can be great. And I would say that every day. And then I would laugh because I had to still get up and go to work, right? So what I was articulating and speaking and thinking, in the moment, my reality didn't match the words or the thoughts.
Right.
But there was something that was happening in the subconscious mind taking over. And I believe that the more you tell yourself something, the more you believe it.
Yes.
So it's almost like a liar, someone who's a habitual liar.
Yeah.
And they start actually believing the lies that they're telling us. And they say it like it's real, like it's true. But it's
straight face and everything.
Straight face. It's the same way with your positive affirmations of what you can do and who you can become and where you can go and the destiny that you want to get to. And so every day I would say it. And I'm not going to lie, 6 months in, right, still saying it, not really believing it yet. But one day I knew something different. Something happened because I said it and I didn't laugh.
It clicked.
That was a pivotal moment. It was like, okay. Instead, I started having a dialogue about that. And instead I was like, well, why can't you?
Right.
I was like, whoa. Now I'm actually starting to see that
now
maybe
it's sinking in.
Yeah. So all of you have the ability, absolutely, to shift your life and to think yourself into your ideal situation. If I say that on some stages, do I have to give you credit?
Yeah.
Okay. Dang. All right.
That's part of my
that's
platform.
Good stuff. That's good stuff. You're going to have to
watch Cheryl. Let me
copyright that or something like that.
Let me make sure I'm tagged on everything she does.
Because you know how it is as speakers, right? When you're around other speakers, you hear what they say, and you're like, oh, that was good.
Ooh, I like that. Hold on.
I'm going to say that in my next speech.
I'm about to
all right, I'm going to give you credit like the first 2 times.
Right.
First 3 times. Because Professor, and after the 3rd time, be like, yes, so you can think yourself like you created that thing. It has been a blast.
Thank you so much.
I'm so excited for you.
Thank you.
I love your passion. We got to work together at a boot camp just a couple of days ago, and
great stuff.
The passion is there, the energy is there, the drive is there, the thought process is there, and you are killing it. You are killing it. And I know that you have some amazing speaking engagements coming up already for 2019.
I do have a couple. I actually have a couple corporate events starting 2019,
That's
so
awesome.
Nothing open to the public as for that right now. But I have a couple of events January, February already. But also, one of the things that I'm excited about is I just started my radio show, Wise Words with Darius, at the WBGR studios. It's every Monday night at 8:30 to 9:30. So make sure you check it out. We do stream it on Facebook Live. It's on, again, WBGR Radio. I'm really excited about that. I have an opportunity, so, I'm going to have to lean on you. If you can come over and hang out with us for a little while. Right. So let me publicly invite you now. But so I'm really excited about that and just working on, making sure that people understand that, our thoughts really do dictate what happens in our life, and really promoting the book and making sure that can be a part of everyone's day. Oh, can I just say one more thing real quick about the book?
You're going to wrap it up right now. You wrap it up.
With the book, you go out and get the book. I wrote this book as something that I would want to read. And what that means is that I wanted it to be short chapters because I don't like long chapters.
Me either.
Right. I wanted it to be something where I knew what to do after I read that chapter, wherever I was in my life. So at the end of each chapter, there's a section called What Now, where I give you 3 or 4 or 5 key steps that you can implement in your life right now, regardless of where you are. And then the last thing is the chapters are not dependent on each other.
Right.
So if you just picked up the book and you read chapter 15, you can understand what was going on without having to read the first 14
chapters. And I love that
chapters.
because that positions you in a place of power as the reader to just say, you know what, let me go to what I need right now.
Right.
Let me go to what I need in this moment
Right.
or in this season or
Exactly.
whatever that's happening.
And I want you to
So
have
I
it
love
all
that.
the time. So it
Yeah.
should be on your nightstand. Oh, I had this kind of day. And I can pick the
Absolutely.
book up, go to that chapter. And
I
read
see
that.
this thing becoming a New York Times bestseller.
Woo, put that out
I was
there.
putting
Say
that out
it.
there. New York Times bestseller. It's powerful. You put a lot of thought and intention and time and energy into it. Like, you're very intentional. You know, we talked about you're very methodical and technical. And I like that. I like that. So we're going to bring you back so we can hear your story.
Okay.
And get that side
would love to tell
of
it.
Darius. Yes. But we know you're brilliant, Professor. Thank you for being with us.
Thank
you guys, make sure you connect with them. Where they find you on social media?
I am on social media at Darius A. Wise, pretty much on every platform. Facebook,
good.
Instagram, Twitter. It's Darius, Darius, AWISE. So at DariusWise.com. I put out videos and all that kind of stuff all the time. Just
follow him, y'all. Follow him, follow his work, stay connected. Thank you guys so much for being with us again for another week of Impact the World Radio. Make sure you stay connected. We'll be back here. We will not be here live next week because we will be eating some turkey somewhere or prepping to eat some turkey somewhere. But we will be here live the next week. And so make sure you continue to be here every Wednesday from 12 to 1 and that you go and get your copy, your digital copy of Impact the World Magazine at impacttheworldmagazine.com. We will see you next week. Have a great afternoon.
We have powerful words, we have powerful minds. We use our voices and freedom takes flight. And we're ready to work, we're ready to win. We have a strategy and now we can begin. We are standing bolder, shoulder to shoulder. Playtime is over. Playtime is over. Now you are a champion. God is my witness. Imperfect perfection. Living my mission and